sawdust and chicken for 12 weeks. You know what I mean? You're damn right I'm going to go on everything I can, but...
What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So guys, channel membership is now live. Link is in the description and the first comment. Do check it out. That would really help support the channel. So let's start this video with the physique update of Brett Wilkin. So there is just no way. Brett is just focused on doing just the Olympia this year in October. And the reason I'm saying that is because the man just looks way too lean for the peak of his off-season. So he might jump into a show before the Olympia this year. Because what are the chances that Brett is gonna make top 10 at his Olympia debut this year and really make some money? Because the top 10 this year, that is gonna be so goddamn stacked. Now of course, with a fully focused off-season, he's 100% gonna be a few pounds heavier at the Olympia this year compared to what we saw at the Legion Sports last year, which by the way was his last show. And he's also gonna be among the most right guys in that Olympia lineup too. But there are guys a lot bigger and heavier than him, but at the same time, who can get equally shredded. So we are living in that era of bodybuilding where these pros, they can make some good money by just winning these Olympia qualifiers. So Brad jumping into an earlier show before the Olympia, that makes all the sense. So the choice of show from Brett Wilkin last year, the show that he won, and also its timing, that was absolute perfection. Just 2 weeks before the Olympia, and that was an Olympia qualifier for this year. So he already had 4 to 5 months for that improvement phase. And other than those 3 terrible weeks where he got pneumonia, he made some great progress. So he's a former Matt Jensen's client who is now working with Stefan as his coach. And considering that Brett Wilkin lost quite a lot of size leading into the Legion Sport last year, especially in the last couple of weeks, I am sure he isn't gonna be making that same mistake again, and he's gonna show up a lot bigger. So what are your expectations from Brett Wilkin for his Olympia debut? Can he place as high as top 8? Or maybe top 10? Fuel your workouts with Hosstile supplements, one of the best isolate and pre-workout in the game, and use the code FAZI10 to get 10% extra discount.
It's 6 days apart. Why on God's green earth would you ever give up opportunity to go into a show
Everyone's
as a
there.
professional?
It's
Right?
just, it's even for marketing, like even for YouTube do it.
So in the latest episode of the Overcome podcast, Bob Shikarello puts Regan Grimes on the blast for not putting his name out there in this upcoming Mighty Pittsburgh Pro, which is just 6 days prior to the New York Pro, the show that he's supposed to compete in, his comeback show after more than 16 months. Now it's a very hot take by Regan to skip this upcoming Pittsburgh Pro, and what Bob said, that kind of makes a lot of sense because you just cannot wrap your head around the fact on why Regan or any other guy who would miss this opportunity to stand next to some of the best in the world, and that too just 6 days before their planned show.
Listen, I'm going to make it worth my time if I'm going to diet, get ready, put the tanning stuff on, eating sawdust and chicken for 12 weeks. You know what I mean? You're damn right I'm going to go on everything I can. But the management of how people pick shows honestly escapes me sometimes.
Is it due to the fact that he won't be ready? Or is it because of the fact that he obviously won't be a contender to crack top 3 against this kind of lineup, which we're gonna see in this year's Pittsburgh Pro? And what if those potential top 3, they all decide to do the New York Pro as well? Because the way it's shaping up to be, other than Derek and Martin, all these other guys, they have all the good reasons to continue to compete into the New York Pro and even California Pro in case they do not win to get their Olympia qualifications, and maybe even the Legion Sports. Even Derek has good reasons to do the New York Pro for the biggest reason, and that is $25,000 in the prize money with just 1 more week of dieting, considering the fact that he has already invested so much time into this prep and the man is already in the shape of his life. So I wanna hear your take on this whole scenario. Should these guys, they try and do as much shows as they possibly can, especially when they're all in shape? Because we all know nothing is guaranteed in any professional sport. I mean, you are just 1 injury away from sitting out of an entire season, or in those most unfortunate circumstances. For instance, a guy like Dennis Wolf, who was forced to retire at the prime of his career due to a back and a neck injury. But there is a flip side to it. Some people only compete to win. And what's the point of doing a show which you already know that you have 0 chances of winning? So was Bob's criticism on Regan Grimes justified in this scenario? Do let me know what you guys think. So these updates mark 5 weeks out from Tonio Burton from this upcoming Legion Sports, and we really want to see how his final package looks like on the stage, because he's also coming back after more than 1 year. So Tonio in his most recent update looks absolutely bonkers. Those are some top tier aesthetics right there, with some size added in all the right areas. So Tonio is doing this upcoming Legion Sports, a show that he won back in 2022 against a much bigger guy, Justin Rodriguez. And one cannot truly appreciate the gifts of Tonio Burton until he stands in a lineup and create that illusion of looking way bigger than he actually is. He was winning shows, weighing just above 212 pounds up until last year, and during his last off-season, he went up to 260 pounds, which also was a very clean look for him. So Tonio obviously is gonna be on that Olympia stage this year. There is no doubt about that. He hasn't missed on the Olympia qualification since 2022, the year he switched from the 212 into the men's open. But the question right now is that, can he repeat his previous best Olympia placing, which was top 8 back in 2023? Well, that is yet to be seen, because Rafael Bundal, he was top 8 at the Olympia last year. Brandon Carey was 9th. So add Nick Walker in that lineup and Michael Krizo. These guys are gonna go back at least 1 or even 2 spots. So Tonio Burton definitely has got some work to do. Now people see a young Dexter Jackson in him. And Dexter, we all know, kept beating all these guys so much bigger than him throughout his career, despite the fact that he just wasn't the biggest guy or the widest guy on the stage. I mean, you look back at the top 2 comparison from the Olympia back in 2015 between Phil Heath and Dexter Jackson. And Dexter wasn't quote-unquote very small, even against a guy like Phil. So let's wait and see how much more size Tonio shows up with this time around. And we have to keep in mind, this was also his first proper off-season ever since he switched over to the men's open. Next up, we have the off-season physique update from Rafael Bundal, who is making a strong comeback after a few months of laying very low, as he was trying to address that bowel issue that forced him to drop the amount of food intake, especially protein, in order to resolve that. And now that he has found the kind of foods which complements his system, the man is growing once again. So this is a top 8 Olympian we are talking about. And if only Rafael was as conditioned at the Olympia last year as he was at the Arnold, Ohio, he could have placed 1 or maybe even 2 spots higher. So the people in Brazil, his fans, they see him as a future Miss Olympia. And the man definitely has the structure for it. But that being said, after watching him as a pro since 2017, we just do not know whether his body is capable of putting on enough amount of muscle where is comparable to the likes of Andrew Jack and Samson Dauda. And he definitely needs a lot more size than where he is currently at to have a shot at the biggest bodybuilding title. So the thing that needs to be appreciated about Rafael is that he was very small when he turned pro. So from 2017 to 2024, he has put on quite a lot of size. But at the same time, he has been able to keep his waistline very small, and he has been able to keep all his aesthetic lines in check. So Rafael is a true definition of being classic in the men's open. And he did improve on his Olympia placings from 2022. So he had an ideal start to this off-season as he won Romania Pro, and he made the right decision that all he wants to do is to focus on just one show in 2025, the Olympia. So Bundal can obviously move up some places this year at the Olympia if the rest of the growing season that goes ideal for him. Next up, we have the 14 weeks out physique update from Justin Shire, coming back to the stage for the first time since the Olympia back in 2023 and aiming to bring considerably more size and more density than last time. Just look at his front double biceps, 2 weeks out of his pro debut, which was Chicago Pro, which he won against some good competition. So his off-season, that might not look that impressive, but when this guy is peeled to the bone like he was before Chicago Pro, you can see what kind of a unique talent this is, an amazingly gifted athlete. So we really want to see how frequently Justin trains his weakest body part, which of course is his back. Because if you scroll through his IG, it has been a back day after every few days, and that is exactly what was required from him. There was just way too much discrepancy between his front and his back at the Olympia 2023, and he did not look as good for the Olympia as he did for Chicago Pro. Plus, Olympia is a different league altogether. Many pros who are making their debuts, they are often overshadowed because of the immense talent that we see, especially in that top 10. So Justin probably has one of the best symmetry, especially from the front. The quad sweep is ideal, He's able to pull a very nice vacuum to showcase his amazing aesthetics, and he probably has one of the most underrated arms in the entire IFBB right now. And that small waistline, that is just bonkers. So nobody talks about his arms being one of the best out there. So Tampa Pro this year, that is gonna be one hell of a show, and this is obviously a very anticipated comeback. So hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video, and smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.